You know, when you think of fencing, you probably picture swashbuckling pirates, right? Or these really dramatic movie duels. But the reality of competitive fencing, well, that's a whole different beast. It's lightning fast, it's incredibly complex. So let's dive in and really deconstruct what it takes to win. Just look at the intensity here, that coiled energy. This is so much more than just waving a sword around. It's this brutal, elegant dance where one tiny split-second decision, a subtle shift in weight, that can mean everything. It's the difference between victory and defeat.
People often call it a physical game of chess, and honestly, that phrase just hits the nail on the head. Every single move is a calculation. Every action is a potential countermove. It's this amazing, explosive mix of pure, raw athleticism and really deep strategic thinking. So that brings up the big question, right? What does it actually take to win? Is it about being the fastest, the strongest, or maybe just the smartest fencer on the strip? Well, the answer is, yeah, it's all of the above. But, and this is the key, it's in a very, very specific order.
To really get our heads around how a champion is built, we're going to use this framework, the competitive pyramid. We're going to start at the very bottom and build our way up, and you're going to see how each layer is absolutely essential for the one right on top of it.
So let's start with the base, the absolute foundation of everything. And it might not be what you think. It isn't about fancy technique. It's not some secret strategy. It's raw physical fitness. And let me be clear, this is completely non-negotiable. Physical fitness is the #1 most critical element of performance, and that's true at every single level of fencing. Without it, the rest of this whole pyramid just crumbles. You simply can't hang. The real work for an elite fencer, it begins way before they even pick up a weapon. It starts right here, on the track, in the gym. The conditioning is just brutal because the sport demands this insane explosive power over and over and over again, all through a really long tournament day. And just look at the range of physical skills you need. It's incredible. It's not enough to just be fast. You need the strength for these powerful lunges, the endurance to last bout after bout, and the precision and control to make your blade hit a target that's about the size of a coin. Okay, so once that physical foundation is rock solid, we can build the next level right on top of it. And that is all about movement, specifically mastering the space between you and your opponent. Footwork is basically the engine of fencing. It's not just about shuffling forward and backward. It's the tool you use to control distance, to create opportunities, to set traps for your opponent. I mean, you could have the most perfect blade work in the world, but it's totally useless if your feet can't get you to the right place at the right time. You see the distance between these two fencers? That gap? That's the entire battlefield. The person who controls that space controls the entire fight. Every tiny little step forward or backward completely changes the tactical situation. And here's how fencers use that footwork strategically. You can push with these really aggressive steps, force your opponent on their back foot. Or you can pull, kind of baiting them, drawing them into an attack, which creates the perfect opening for your own counter. It's this constant dance of pressure and temptation.
So, we've got the body, we've got the movement. Now, let's finally bring in the weapon. This is where we get into blade work, and I gotta tell you, the secret here might actually surprise you. We tend to think that elite athletes have this huge library of super complex techniques. But in fencing, mastery isn't about being complicated. It's all about devastating simplicity. So, how many core blade actions do you think you really need to be effective? The answer is probably a lot smaller than you think. It all starts with just 3. And here is where the magic happens. By absolutely perfecting just 3 simple actions, say a thrust, a parry, and a feint, you can combine them in 9 different ways. A feint into a thrust is a totally different thing than a parry followed by a feint. It's all about executing a few moves flawlessly, instead of a whole bunch of moves kind of poorly. We've finally made it to the top of our pyramid. This is the peak. It's where fitness, footwork, and blade work all come together, and they're all guided by the most important weapon a fencer has, their mind. This is exactly why they call it physical chess. All those amazing physical skills, they're really just the pieces on the board. Winning at the highest levels is all about solving the puzzle of your opponent faster than they can solve you. But there's a really important difference between strategy and tactics. Think of strategy as your big picture game plan. Are you going to go all out aggressive, Or are you going to fence defensively and try to run out the clock? Tactics, on the other hand, are the specific moment-to-moment actions, the parries, the lunges, that you use to actually execute that strategy. During a bout, a fencer's mind is just racing. I mean, they're constantly analyzing everything, looking for tells, recognizing patterns. They're even doing a quick mental SWOT analysis of their opponent's strengths and weaknesses. And the trick is, they have to be ready to change that entire plan in a fraction of a second. So how in the world do they do all this so fast? Well, it all comes down to thousands of hours of training. The goal is to move actions from your conscious mind to your subconscious. Through that disciplined repetition, the correct reaction just becomes automatic. It's a rote reaction that happens faster than you can even think. But here's a really fascinating psychological twist. Sometimes a wild, unplanned, lucky shot actually works. It's kind of like pulling the lever on a slot machine and hitting the jackpot. And that random reward can be super dangerous because it teaches you to rely on luck instead of skill, and that's how bad habits get started. And that brings us to our final thought. And this one's for fencers and non-fencers alike. In your life, at your job, in your hobbies, do you have a Hail Mary move? That one thing you fall back on, not because it's disciplined or practiced, but just because, hey, you never know, it just might work. It's definitely something to think about.